larger, developed countries like US, Canada, UK, Singapore, Israel, we do work for them in partnership. We provide them the IT resources that they need. The Fortune 500 companies rely on Indian IT for their efficient working, and that's one kind of need that we fulfill. But there are companies now in Africa, in Middle East, in Latin America who look to us for complete solutions, and we provide those solutions from India. So I'm very happy, and we have the MEA secretary today because he would get a first-hand feel how the world looks towards us for getting IT solutions. COVID was a big issue with everyone. We all have suffered in the COVID times, but the IT software and IT services actually had an opportunity there because the whole world was shifting to work from home and also rapidly digitalizing. And India was giving them all the support. So we are giving support for vaccines to the world, and we are giving support to making them work from home and making them automate. This need was felt by almost all countries in the world. Another area which has emerged in India, thanks to the leadership of our Prime Minister, we are now the third largest startup ecosystem in the world. And Mr. Sani, as Secretary of Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, has actually provided that leadership to really nurture innovation in the IT space. Majority of the 50,000 startups that are there in India actually belong to the IT vertical. And this is another area where India is contributing very significantly in new technologies, new innovation, which is happening in the field of IT. So this particular show this year, although we were very worried that it is not a physical show that we are all used to, but it has evolved well, and we are able to actually take benefit of the digital technology by having it over an extended period of time. The normal India Soft shows were 2 days in duration. This time we start on the 9th, the exhibition, and go up till the end of the month, till the 31st. And we are trying to address all our major markets with the focus sessions, which will address partnerships in these countries. So we have one for US and Canada, we have one for UK, we have one for Japan, one for Korea, we have one for Africa, one for Latin America, one for Europe, and one for Asia Pacific. So I would encourage all of you to please have a look at the program. You need only one common registration, which will take you to all these conferences and also to the exhibition. So another big thing which is happening is that the Indian market for IT itself has grown very well. As per a McKinsey report, we would be a digital economy of more than $1 trillion, which MITI actually got done from McKinsey by 2025. Now, this represents a huge market for any IT company in any part of the world. We encourage companies who are not here. The big ones are already here, the Microsofts and IBM, they came here long back. But mid-sized companies who have innovative solutions and who want to be in the Indian market, we encourage them to come here, find partners in the Indian IT industry, and together develop not only for India and their own country, but for all parts of the world, so that it becomes a win-win for everyone. So we are looking forward to those kind of relationships. The larger companies are already doing it, but I invite all the small and mid-sized companies to make use of this. Normally, a large company can go to any part of the world and set up operations on their own. But small and mid-sized companies, they actually need local partners. So we would provide you that opportunity. We have companies from all parts of India, all the major IT hubs that exist in India, starting from Chennai, Hyderabad, Trivandrum, Bangalore, Mumbai, Pune, Ahmedabad, Delhi, Noida, Gurgaon, Kolkata, all the IT clusters are represented by these companies. So we would encourage you to come meet the companies, choose your partners, all at one place. So IndiaSoft offers tremendous value for all needs that global IT companies have, whether you are a large company, small or mid-sized company, whether you are in the US or whether you are in Africa, you will find an Indian partner who can create value in whatever you're doing. So I would like to, first of all, thank Mr. Sani and also Mr. Chabra. Mr. Sani is the Secretary for Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. Mr. Chabra is the Secretary Economic Relations in the Ministry of External Affairs, Government of India. And my colleagues, Mr. Sandeep Narula, Chairman of ESC, Mr. Gurmeet Singh, and all the foreign delegates and exhibitors who are part of the IndiaSoft. I would also take this opportunity to welcome Mr. Suresh Prabhu. He unfortunately is in a place where the internet connectivity is not good, and he has sent a recording of what he wanted to speak today. And I would request Mr. Gurmeet Singh to please play his recording before we start the program. Mr. Gurmeet Singh, please. Can we have quickly the message?
Sure, sir. It's been done.
Congratulate Electronics and IT Export Promotion Council for doing a commendable work, not only to promote economic activity through the exports, but I must say by adding jobs, by creating ecosystem, but I would say more importantly, becoming India's economic ambassadors. Wherever you exported your products, India's image has gone up. People now understand that India is also a technology hub. India has top-class professionals which make it possible for India to enter global export market in this field. As a Commerce Industry Minister, I very closely watch the huge progress made by this industry, but more importantly, the potential that lies in front of this industry. What we have done so far is good, but what could be done in future is far, far bigger than what we accomplished in the past. To do that, we must have a strategy in place. I remember with all of you, I have worked very closely to draw a roadmap for future, for growth, for the benefit of you as industry, or good for the country. I'm sure as we go along, we'll be able to realize the potential that lies in this industry's capabilities to the fullest extent possible. I can see the world entering an uncertain phase, a difficult phase, but that provides opportunities, particularly for you. Because when the situations get a little difficult, the companies will like to cut costs by increasing more spending on technology. They like to work on issues which will bring them more benefits by reducing the variable cost, by increasing the capex, like the one that you all will provide them. So this is a very good opportunity for all of you. As I can clearly see, India should become hub for manufacturing of hardware. It is already becoming a very important player in the world in terms of software. If you can put both together, can you imagine the exponential growth that can happen? Some countries are good in hardware. We should be good in both hardware and software. And at the same time, we should be at a cutting edge of technology. Whether they are emerging technologies like artificial intelligence, whether they are blockchain technologies, or whether they are Internet of Things, big data, all of that put together, added to our ability to manufacture hardware at low cost with good quality, it can become a recipe for a huge success for future. And to do that, I can clearly see you are most well equipped to do it. You are the human capital, you are the intellectual capital, and you are the entrepreneurial spirit. Just imagine a combination of all this will lead to huge growth in the sector. I represent India for G7 and G20. I clearly see the opportunities in both the groupings for technology oriented industries. I can clearly see G20, which represents 86% of global GDP, 86%, only 20 countries. And in that, I always participate in the conversation. I will interact with the leaders of G20 countries, and I can clearly see that where the wind is blowing, in which direction the countries and the leadership is thinking. In the G20, we have B20, the business 20. All the Fortune 500 company leaders come and make their presentation to G20. So in that, again, the B20 grouping, I've been very closely interacting with all the leaders of business, leaders of industry, leaders of technology, leaders of tomorrow's thinking. And they all talk about technology-oriented industries having a better future. I'm also participating in World Economic Forum. In fact, I'm the one who represents India in that. In that, again, I can see the conversation, dialogue, ideas, which point out only to one thing, that future belongs to those who will think ahead of time, who will seize the opportunities that are now offered by a difficult situation post-COVID. So, situation is challenging for whom they don't have the ability to deal with it. But situation offers opportunities for people like you. I request you, please use this, seize this opportunity with both your hands. And I think when I said both the hands, one hand technology for manufacturing, other hand software. Both hands coming together, you can imagine what it would be. So let's work on that strategy. I am always available to you anytime you need my help. I've seen the people who are working in this. I have a great regard for Mr. Kohli. There's one Kohli, Fakir Chand Kohli, who laid the foundation for software. I think Mr. Kohli, you should lay the foundation with your colleagues, you as their formidable leader. Try to work together to create a foundation for tomorrow's hardware industry. Hardware and software would be very difficult for anybody to beat us then. I think future belongs to you, future belongs to India, future belongs to those who believe and use technology effectively. All the best to you. Congratulations.
Mr. Prabhu wanted me to apologize on his behalf. He was very keen to be here in person, but he had to be at a place where, the internet connectivity wasn't good. So I think what we do, and before we request the ESC chairman, Mr. Sandeep Narula, to share his thoughts with us, I would just like to add one dimension which the world is looking at us. There was a delegation from the United Kingdom a few years ago. These were all small and mid-sized companies, about 25 of them. And I asked them, what brings you here? Are you going to do a lot of outsourcing here? And they said, no, it is not outsourcing. We actually do not get the right talent, even if we are wanting to pay the prices which large companies pay to their people. We do not get the right pricing, availability of human resources. So we are coming to India because we want to partner with companies so that we can get the talent that we need for doing our projects. So once again, welcome to everybody, whether you want to source IT services or IT product or a solution, co-develop with us, or get world-class IT professionals who are English speaking, and which is our strength. We welcome you to IndiaSoft, and we do hope that you will have very fruitful interactions and good business while you attend the IndiaSoft exhibition and the event. May I now request Mr. Sandeep Narula to please share his thoughts.
Thank you, Mr. Kohli. Chief guest of the evening, Mr. Suresh Prabhu, who unfortunately could not join us owing to the technical glitches. Mr. Rahul Chhabra, Secretary, Economic Relations, Ministry of External Affairs, Government of India. Mr. A.P. Sahani, Secretary, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, Government of India. My senior colleague, Mr. Nalin Kohli, Chairman, Organizing Committee for India Soft. Mr. Gurmeet Singh, EDESC. Distinguished delegates, exhibitors, members of the council, ladies and gentlemen, very good evening, very good morning, namaskar. I, on behalf of ESC, extend very warm greetings to all of you and join Mr. Nalin Kohli in welcoming you all to the 21st edition of India Soft, held for the first time on the virtual platform. It's really ironical that our member companies empower the digitalization world across, but we never thought of having all digital event for this council, for especially for India Soft. And today, because of pandemic, I would say that this is blessing in disguise, because this has set the trend. We could have larger presence of visitors, members from world over when we have virtual platform as well as a physical event. In fact, I would say that this is owing to the pandemic, we have learned a lot, and we have got a new lease of life where a lot of things are being performed digitally and change the whole way we do the business, whether it's small business, large business, medium business. We have learned a lot of things and now doing business as per new learnings. I'm sure that which virtual edition of India Soft will be as fruitful for our delegates as the previous editions have been, bringing a lot of new opportunities, new connect, and new partnerships. Mr. Kohli has already given very exhaustive account of our annual event for which we have assembled here today. And I would like to add a few words about prevailing economic environment and way ahead. Gradually, the global economy looks set to come out of COVID induced downturn and regain the erstwhile pace of growth that had fizzled out for some time during the last year. Like rest of the world, we in India have also felt the impact of pandemic, with our growth story getting disrupted at a critical juncture. Fortunately, the economy is now picking up, and slowly but surely we are headed towards regaining fast pace of growth. In fact, the setback has given us new openings, new vision, new dream to do something big. I must state here, with what is far-sighted and action-oriented approach, our government has not allowed any slackness in the speed of economic reforms, and rather speeded up the economic development by a recent decision of the governments of having various performance-linked incentive schemes in a major drive towards the Atmanirbhar Bharat. While our advances in software sector are already well known and need no introduction probably, I may mention that our ICT sector is newly increased, shaped by cutting edge technologies and application. Our software and ITS exports to all corners of the globe are testimony to our power, our strength. As per latest projections, even in the face of widespread slowdown, India's software export is likely to register a positive growth. For information, I would just like to share that last year, 1920, we did $150 billion of exports of software, and likely to see slight jump in the software export for the current year. We are adding up to the IoT segment also, and enabling the way how the future factory in India could be built. When there is a dream for our Prime Minister, for our country to have a 5 trillion economy by 2025, we need to look at ways and means to reach to the global market. And we need to have larger and future factories ready. And our software companies as well as electronic hardware companies are playing very vital role in bringing this achievement. India Soft is our way of putting before world some of the finest solutions offered by small and medium-sized IT units. And I'm glad that this year too, some of the top-line innovative products and solutions will be on display, which would create new milestone, new opportunities for business between our members and the market. At this stage, I must mention that the credit for building IndiaSoft as a movement goes entirely to the untiring effort of my senior colleague, Mr. Nalin Kohli, who has been running the show, driving the show for last 21 years. This is the 21st edition. On behalf of entire ESC fraternity, I would like to place on record our deep appreciation for his commitment and enthusiasm that has made IndiaSoft as one of the most sought after IT shows globally. Before I end, a few words about my organization. My organization represents two verticals of the industry. On the one side is electronic hardware, on the other side is software. We have about 2,300 members, and we have been enabling them for businesses with the world market by having a lot of promotional activities, B2B meetings, virtual meetings, and acting as a major interface between them and the government in policy formulation, in amendment to the policy based on the real-time situations. And that has actually seen the ITS export in 1989 was merely $50 million, and the council has been witness to the phenomenal growth of reaching the export figure of about $150 billion in the current year. We engage proactively with the government, and I hope that members have been extremely positive about the show, and I look forward for good business, good opportunities for all of those who are here as exhibitors, as visitors. With these words, I once again welcome you all. Thank you so much and wish you all the best.
Thank you, Sandeep ji, for your leadership and your support and for your kind words. May I now request Mr. Rahul Chhabra, Secretary, Economic Relations in the Ministry of External Affairs. Sir, the Indian missions all over the world have been one of the prime strengths for IndiaSoft. Today, IndiaSoft has a brand equity in all parts of the world, and our missions have contributed very significantly to this positioning. We are extremely happy and delighted that you have found time to be with us today to deliver this keynote address. And may I now request you to kindly give your keynote.
Namaste, ladies and gentlemen. Really, India, great pleasure as part of the Electronics and Software Export Promotion Council's flagship event, IndiaSoft. Also, very warm welcome to everyone else who's present on this session from across the world, as it should rightly be. I don't think I really need to highlight the importance of electronics and telecom and more IT in today's age and to this sort of audience. But we must really really understand, as has been mentioned earlier, that this black swan event of the COVID-19, we were really able to insulate ourselves quite to a large extent from the worst impacts, mainly because of increasing use of IT and ITS in our entire social and economic systems. So that is what sort of saved us, and is like today is a classic example, if there ever there was one, of us meeting virtually like this, unthinkable just a few months back. And it seems to be going off well, despite a minor glitch of we are missing the chief guest, but never mind. So when the COVID lockdowns happened, the first line of action, billions of people sort of locked themselves up at their homes, and they still were able to carry out pretty much their professional responsibilities while sort of maintaining all norms of social distancing. Most basic functions from remote locations, like Mr. Narula correctly mentioned, ordered groceries, medicines, healthcare, doctors, even education. So all that got covered thanks to sort of this sector. Also, what I wanted to bring to your notice was that this pandemic has really offered us sort of a little peek into what we can expect in what the future will look like. So I think it'll be dominated by this sort of contactless deliveries, increasing dependence on e-commerce, heightened use of IT-enabled services for performing many of our routine functions, and enhanced use of innovative technology-led solutions, resolving some of our most complex challenges. Mr. Nalin Kohli about the McKinsey study and that our digital economy will exceed $1 billion by 2025. So already, and I think Mr. Narula mentioned some more figures, so I won't really repeat those figures. I mean, many of you are probably aware of all those figures, and the sector contributing nearly 10% to the country's GDP. I'll just talk a little bit about Digital India Mission that the Government of India has launched. I think Mr. Sani will probably be referring to it, so I won't spend too much time on that. But mega IT projects have been undertaken by the government. IT solutions in the domains of education, healthcare, urban planning, financial inclusion are the focus areas. And the classic example, of course, our unique identification number of nearly covering over 1.2 million Indians. So virtually 99% coverage. So I think we need to applaud ourselves to have successfully achieved that. This sector comprising of all these different electronics, telecom, IT sectors really offers a sort of a one-stop shop to the world that was being referred to also by Mr. Kohli. And it has sort of shown that the skilled manpower and facilities that are available across the entire value chain in these sectors. So the credibility and the reliability of Indian infrastructure has really made itself evident across the world, with countries increasingly opting for India-made electronics and software goods. And it is global majors that are making a mark in this, as again, it was referred to. It is also MSMEs that have supported this sector in a very big way. And our positioning in the global electronics and IT hub we have to owe a debt to the MSMEs in that. And that has helped build up this brand India, what we talk about, and what Government of India is focusing on, the Atmanirbhar initiative. Just going on to talking about the sectors, digitalizing our economy has focused basically, I mean, if we are to sort of get into two sectors, is really where it is working out is healthcare, education, in addition to the others, financial inclusion and all that. But the focus has been in Government of India also to sort of reform our governance structures. So we are sort of using this opportunity not only to sort of promote it outside to the outside world, sort of the best example is really to try and do it ourselves internally and see how well it works. And then we can probably sell it even better outside. So the motto of the Government of India being less government and more governance. So sort of in that path, digitization is playing a very big role. From the Government of India, I now want to bring you all just quickly on to what we at the Ministry of External Affairs is doing and planning to do. We are using this sort of domestic successes of this sector, ITES, in a very structured manner and utilizing the significant domestic capabilities that have evolved and developed in domestic governance, public and private sectors to execute similar digital platforms and e-governance initiatives in friendly and partner countries. So we are taking it out as part of our development partnership frameworks. So we are trying to identify countries which may be open and receptive to accepting these sort of solutions where the need is there, and more so even now with this. So we are proactively seeking out that our missions that Mr. Kohli mentioned have been tasked in a big way to try and see where these can be used. For which, by the way, lines of credit, and I have a huge of lines of credit, just for the background of some of your members who may not be aware. In general, portfolio over the last 15 years today stands at over 30 billion US. So that's the size of the lines of credit portfolio. Quite a bit of it is, as of now, maybe not fully being utilized. and available for some of your members to utilize, and maybe for those countries who are interested. 75% of the procurement to be done in those lines of credit, including consultancy services, has to be done from India. So that automatically sort of the revenue flows and the opportunities do come back to India, while several opportunities are created for our developing country and LDC friends. So in these changing times and in the event of disruptions of this sort of supply chain, countries around the world are looking at a maximum diversification of their production supply chain in the medium to long term, and trying to wean themselves away from extreme dependence on any one country. So this really offers us an important opportunity. Developing India into a low-cost manufacturing destination will help us position ourselves as the preferred alternative to other countries and markets that may be a little more opaque and have different sorts of sets of regulations, which may not be as open and transparent as our systems. But our biggest advantage is our democratic system, rule of law, high levels of transparency in governance. These really build investor confidence. We seem to take it for granted sometimes, but we don't really appreciate on occasions how important these are to the foreign investor. Combining that with the ease of doing business, the government is now working on simplified labor laws, accessible capital. So India really becomes an extremely promising alternative manufacturing destination if we are able to plug the gaps wherever they exist. So I'd like to just end by saying that, again, repeating that this sort of black swan event that this COVID-19 was, it sort of really has brought in the important enhanced IT, is probably one of the real big side effects, beneficial side effects that we have had, and we were able to shield ourselves because of that. And with economic activities already beginning, and in a few weeks' time probably will pick up much further. So we are hoping, as Mr. Suresh Prabhu mentioned, that to be able to transform this immense challenge, this is really a big challenge, into a series of opportunities. That's what I guess leadership is all about. You see a challenge and you can transform it into an opportunity, and Mr. Prabhu very rightly referred to it. And India to emerge as the nerve center of the global supply chains. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chabra, for a very thought-provoking address. I would now request Mr. Ajay Sahni, Secretary, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. Under his leadership, we have seen growth in all parts of ICT, whether it's hardware manufacturing, whether it's innovation and startups, and whether it's software and software products and solutions. He has very ably guided through his ministry the growth of industry in all these segments. May I request you, sir, to kindly deliver the inaugural address.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you, depending on where you are participating from. Thank you, Mr. Nalin Kohli, for giving me this opportunity to be a part of this event. It's always a pleasure to address events organized in the IndiaSoft banner, because there is so much participation from across the globe, and a lot of participation also from mid-sized and small Indian companies that actually are able to offer very, very competitive products, solutions, and services to clients from across the globe. First of all, referring to the Black Swan event that Mr. Rahul Chabra has mentioned, we hope that all of you are safe and moving towards a period, that all of us are moving towards a period where we can once again get back to normal life and be able to pursue all the activities, not just online, but also in the offline mode. But in the meantime, it's a great comfort to have the online mode available, the video conferencing mode available for fairly elaborate conferences and exhibitions. And my compliments to IndiaSoft for embracing this platform and continuing with their otherwise wonderful series of events. During the pandemic, we were worried about how the Indian IT services industry would be able to cope up. How would they be able to continue serving marquee clients from across the globe? It gives me tremendous satisfaction to say that even though at one stage we had an exceptionally severe lockdown which went on for several weeks, in fact, for months. At one stage, as many as 98% of the employees were not working from their offices. I must compliment the IT industry, the software services industry giants that we have in India, that their services continued with hardly any difficulty. Within an exceptionally short period, they were able to adjust to the changed situation. They were able to get their employees to continue working from their homes. And even when 90% or more than 90% were working from home, the services continued with high quality and continuity was maintained. That's something extraordinary that had happened. We also discovered some of our abilities that we had not recognized adequately till then. We found that a young team of just about 15, 18 persons who were all again working from their homes put together an app, Arogya Setu, for COVID management, for contact tracing. This was done in a matter of 3 weeks. It was tested thoroughly, but we were still worried because this was done by a scratch team of youngsters. This app went on to be downloaded by as many as 170 million Indian users and continues to be used. Right now, it's being used to help Indian citizens register themselves for COVID vaccination, schedule their sessions, help the elders in their families to schedule their sessions, and to get vaccinated. So imagine just less than 24 youngsters coming together and making it happen in a very, very short time. And I can tell you from my position as Secretary Electronics and Information Technology in India, that we can find thousands of such teams in India. We have that kind of talent which is available. It's possible for us to find 1,000, 5,000, maybe 10,000 such teams, which can go on to create new products when they are challenged, they rise to meet that kind of a challenge. Apart from the strength in software services, India is quickly moving into the space of software products. That is very evident from the kind of products that have emerged. We have a huge growth currently in software product space. And they are not stopping with software products. They are moving on to products which use electronics as a base. in electronics, over the past 6 years, we have grown at a compounded annual rate of growth of 23% year on year. And one would imagine that we are about to slow down because there's a much larger base. We are not slowing down. Over the next 5 years, we expect the CAGR to go up and not down. Almost every sector of electronics is now starting to participate in creation of large-scale manufacturing, in creation of new products and services. The incentives alone that are available from Government of India over the next 5 years amount to, these are direct cash out incentives. They are of the order of about 27 to 28 billion US dollars. That's the kind of incentives. Imagine typically the incentives are production linked incentives that amount to about 4 to 5% of the production. And imagine the kind of production that is expected to happen in the light of this program. This fills a very important gap that used to exist in our ecosystem. Youngsters, companies in India would go in largely for software services and not into devices or solutions that use electronics. With the strengthening of the electronics manufacturing ecosystem in India, we are also trying to get component manufacturers. We are trying to address this systematically. And I expect that with new requirements that are emerging, with new technologies that are emerging, with IoT, with large data analytics, with 5G, with AR and VR, we will have with another transformation which is underway, the transformation of every sector going digital. Digital earlier was a separate standalone, IT was a standalone, electronics was a standalone, digital payments was a standalone. Now every sector, every traditional sector of the economy is going digital. So with all of these factors, there's tremendous change in the air. There's tremendous amount of innovation that would happen. New challenges, new opportunities, and the need to quickly address those and harness the new technologies to help our businesses grow, help our businesses remain competitive. We are moving towards an ecosystem that would be able to provide you not just with software services as has been done by our industry over several years, but also solutions in electronics, solutions in devices, solutions that apply a combination of technologies to problems in healthcare, in agriculture, in the primary sector, in manufacturing, in transportation, in urban living, in homes, in factories, all of these and more. We are seeing amazing signs of this. We are seeing, on an average right now, over the past couple of years, I think we are seeing about 7 to 8, 9 unicorns emerge every year. Perhaps more than all of Europe put together. I don't want to compare with any particular geography. But we have a large number of startups. And we have centers of excellence. We have premier institutions that used to be in a few cities in India. Today we have premier educational and research institutions in a large number of small towns and cities. These are gaining confidence. These are capable of not just teaching and training, they are capable of acting as hubs for innovation, hubs for incubation. This is the ecosystem that India represents today. In the coming decade, we expect a lot more to happen in this space. There's one area that I would like to draw your attention to in particular. The harnessing of public digital platforms at a nationwide scale. The first among them, Mr. Chabra had referred to, Aadhaar, the digital identity that Indians use, which is not so much a physical card. It's an online digital identity which we use for multiple purposes. It's not a service which is provided by the government to the citizens. It's an ecosystem. There's a law, there is an authority that provides the core service, but there are a large number of industry partners that join in to provide the services, and a much larger number of entities that are able to make use of these services to enhance their experience, their customer experience. Similarly, UPI, Unified Payments Interface, is the second significant public digital platform, on top of which have grown huge entities like Google Pay, PhonePe, which is another giant digital payments entity, Paytm, and many more. Many of these have grown at an exponential pace. So we found the magic that a public digital platform is able to play in consolidating fragmented implementations that exist across the country in any given domain, in creating a nationwide platform, in creating a platform which is meant not only for government to deliver services to its citizens, but for industry to join in, to innovate, to make use of that platform, to comply with its requirements, and to grow their business on top of the platform by providing value-added services. Similar national public digital platform efforts are now underway in healthcare. The design of the blueprint of such an effort in education and also such an effort in agriculture and primary sector is at a very advanced stage. We expect such platforms to emerge in logistics, in connecting jobs with skills, and many other areas. These are expected to also come with their regulatory sandboxes in case of regulated sectors, or developmental test beds in case of unregulated sectors, that will provide opportunities to companies to create new products and services that become a part of the national ecosystem for healthcare or for agriculture or for other significant domains. These are our vehicles to help that part of the economy go digital. It's a very interesting time to be in India in 2021. It's just the beginning of a very different period where we have software, we have manufacturing, we have electronics, we have design, and we have talent. If there's one thing that I would like to point India out for, there's another country that calls itself the startup nation, so I don't want to try to claim that for India, though we are, I won't say that we are not a startup nation. We are a talent nation. We are a nation which is full of talent. We are a nation which is full of very high caliber human resource. And this is what can do the magic for all of you. This is the message I want to leave you all with. Come to India, make India a part of your story. You can source services, you can source products, you can source customized solutions for whatever your set of requirements is. And if possible, also make India a location where you can bring your company in and explore what kind of businesses can be done fruitfully by being here in India. Thank you once again to Nalinji and the entire IndiaSoft team for giving me this opportunity. And once again, my warm welcome to all of you. Please make best use of this opportunity. This is the time to step out and do something which you have been thinking about. Don't miss this opportunity to be in India or to engage with India at this point in time. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for a very inspiring address. And I'm sure the whole world will get the message that we are the place to be in for the coming decade, where growth is going to be there, where great partnerships are going to be made in IT and in electronics and in manufacturing. Thank you very much for being with us. May I now request Mr. Gurmeet Singh, our Executive Director, to formally propose a vote of thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It is my proud privilege to propose a hearty vote of thanks to our chief guest for today's inaugural session, Honorable Mr. Suresh Prabhu, for sharing his inaugural address, and best wishes for the 21st edition of IndiaSoft 2021. Sir, your words have come as a source of inspiration for all of us. My sincere thanks to Mr. Ajay Prakash Sahani ji, Secretary, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. Sir, you gave a very vivid account of India's electronics and IT space and policies pursued by the Government of India that will help nurture all the sectors all the more. Kindly accept our sincere thanks and gratitude for those insightful words. My sincere thanks to Mr. Rahul Chhabra, Secretary, Economic Relations, Ministry of External Affairs. Sir, I'm sure our friends from different corners of globe would have found your words quite reassuring and would help them finalize their partnerships with Indian IT industry players and invite for more engagements and more closer cooperation. Let me place on record our deep gratitude to the Department of Commerce, Ministry of Electronics and IT that has been our principal partners in organization of IndiaSoft series of events. But for the crucial support provided by the department, perhaps it would not have been possible for us to hold this event, particularly during the current challenging times. Government of Odisha and Software Technology Parks of India have been our long-standing associates. I wish to place on record our sincere thanks to them. I would be failing in my duty if I don't thank Mr. Nalin Kohli, Chairman IndiaSoft, rather Chief Inspirational Officer, as I call him, with the energy and motivation he has and keep inspiring us at Team IndiaSoft to do more to ensure better and fruitful business engagements for our stakeholders. Mr. Kohli and all members of the organizing committee deserves our special thanks. Special thanks to our chairman, Mr. Sandeep Narula, for the leadership provided by him and guiding the team towards this gigantic effort. No doubt, Team IndiaSoft has done a commendable job by bringing the virtual edition in spite of various challenges and my sincere appreciation for my senior colleague, Mr. Vikas Gupta, Vikrant Saxena, and other team members. Most importantly, thanks are due to all our Indian and overseas partners, our distinguished delegates and exhibitors who have joined the event. My special thanks to the delegates from different countries who have joined us from presenting various time zones. On behalf of Chairman and Team IndiaSoft, I extend a very warm invitation to you all to make use of various global knowledge sessions planned during 3 weeks long virtual IndiaSoft edition, and also network with over 150 Indian IT companies and 1,000 plus business delegates joining us from 73 plus countries starting March 9th to 31st. With this, I request all of you to carry this vote of thanks with acclamation. Thank you so much. Let's stay connected at IndiaSoft 2021. As we say, meet, connect, and grow. Thank you so much.
Thank you everyone, and look forward to meeting you at the digital platform. Thanks a lot.